quite welcome, sir. So I
Thank you
just
very much.
introducing Dr.
Thank
Darlene
you.
Kluka. Please meet Dr. Uppal. Uppal, sir, Darlene Kluka.
Right, nice
She's
meeting.
the Vice
Hey,
President.
how are you?
Good
She's
to
from
meet you, sir.
US. Rosa is from Venezuela. Yuri is from Israel.
It's nice meeting all of you. It's pleasure meeting all of you.
Nice meeting you, of course.
Yeah.
Your reputation precedes you. Woohoo!
Thank you.
Namaste, Uppal sir.
Hi, namaskar.
कैसे हैं sir? बहुत दिन पे हो.
It's always nice to have students like Usha Nair.
Oh,
She
thank
has
you.
been one of my very good students.
Thank you, sir.
And
So
then
that's how
Dr.
we reach
Piyush.
here. We are groomed because of you. So now you understand that.
Yes, Dr. Piyush also was my student.
Okay, sir.
They are all very hardworking and they are doing excellent job in the profession. And then PAFI is mainly Dr. Piyush Jain is the live wire of Physical Education Foundation of India, working very, very hard. And time may not be far away when we will have a small unit in every state of the country. We have more than about 30,000 members, and day by day it is expanding, and we are receiving support from all quarters. All physical education teachers are rendering support. Even Government of India is also helping us in promoting our activities. It's a pleasure meeting all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much,
Dr.
sir.
G. Kishore sir bhi hai, sir. Dr. G. Kishore is.
Sir, good evening, sir. And you have forgotten to take my name of student.
Oh, I was wondering. I thought you are the speaker. You know, Dr. Kishore, who is the head of the institute, was also my student, and I'm sorry I could not recognize him. He is putting on spectacles. He was another favorite bodybuilder, weightlifter, and he has also risen to the post of principal of the institute. And my best wishes are always with him. And I'm sure in the near future he will climb many more stairs. And he is looking after the institute very well. And uh, half of the teachers working in the institute in Trivandrum are my students.
Yeah.
And I am always proud of my students. And Dr. Kishore is one of them. I'm sorry, Kishore, I really could not recognize you.
No, thank you so much.
Your mustaches have grown bigger, I think.
Thank
So
you
he
for
was looking more like a student, sir. Now he's become very young. So that could be the reason, Kishore, sir.
Right, Kishore.
So
I'm
could we
sorry,
start,
Kishore.
sir? Yes.
You can please go ahead.
Kishore, sir, could we start?
Yeah, please.
Most respected guest speaker for the day, Dr. Yuri Schaefer, who is the president of ICSSPE, Dr. A.K. Uppal, who is the president of Physical Education Foundation of India, Dr. Piyush Jain, who is the secretary of the Physical Education Foundation of India, Dr. Rosa, Dr. Kluka, Dr. G. Kishore, Sujit, Sanjay Prajapati, invited guests, and my dear friends. Indeed, it's a great honor where we have stalwarts, all dignitaries within the world has come into a very small place. We are from across the world, all are together with the purpose and objective of how to promote and to improve physical education in the country. I'd like to give a brief introduction about Dr. Yuri. He is the president of the International Council of Sports Science and Physical Education, was a past president and board member, International Council of Coaching Excellence, Secretary General, Israel Coaching Association, was also a lecturer on sport management and sociology of sport, MBA program specializing in sport management, Wingate Institute in cooperation with Rupin Academic College, Israel, and is a Secretary General, Israel Coaching Association. Dr. Yuri, he has got is a graduate from the Wingate College of Physical Education. He received a swimming coaching diploma from Nat Holman School for Coaches in Wingate. He received his master's degree at Tel Aviv University in the field of study and research and education. His doctorate degree from Semmelweis University in Budapest, Hungary. His professional career included being the Director General of the Wingate Institute, Deputy Director General and Director of the Sport Administration, the Ministry of Culture and Sport for 8 years. In 2019, Dr. Schaefer has initiated the establishment of Coaching Association of Israel for all sport disciplines, together with Alex Aberbach, 3-time pole vault European champion. His main area of research and interest includes sport management, sport strategy, coach education, coaching, talent identification, sociology, and social psychology of sport. He has published numerous articles on sport and physical activity, with emphasis on how to motivate children and youth to engage in physical activity and sport across the lifestyle. So I think he's got enormous awards, and especially the award of include Sports Science Award of IOC President, the Lifetime Achievement Award of the International Jewish Sports Hall of Fame, the Appreciation of Award of the National Olympic Committee of Israel, and the Sport Administration during the 10 years Director General, the National Award of Quality Excellence in Public Sector, Silver Star. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, Khelo India, a warm welcome to our most dignified guest speaker, Dr. Yuri. Welcome, Dr. Yuri.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to welcome our eminent panelist, Dr. A.K. Uppal sir. Already we have heard, because sir is only qualified with DSC and I think it's DLIT from in physical education. Was the only one, was the vice chancellor, and he's due to his expertise in the field of physical education, he was called over to Bangladesh. He set up a department there, a well-renowned expert in physical education, which has helped in formation of the Physical Education Foundation of India, and with his enormous expertise in the field, one of the pioneers who has brought name and fame to physical education in the country. So on behalf of all the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Khelo India, Lakshmi National College of Physical Education, a warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to welcome Dr. Piyush Jain, who's a secretary, and he said live wire. That's right, we saw you, because you could get the entire India connected, getting lot of activities throughout the year, where you've been doing an enormous job. Even during the online classes, they were having regular online classes on various activities, promoting physical education, handling the issues of physical education. I think it's none other than Dr. Piyush Jain, who's the secretary of PEFI. On behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, a warm welcome to you, Dr. Piyush Jain.
Thank you,
Warm
ma'am.
welcome
Thank
to you.
you. Thank you.
I'd like to welcome Dr. Rosa, a very close friend, who made this event make it global. So a warm welcome to you, who's always fights for women, and I'm happy because you make us proud. Welcome to you. A warm welcome to our light. I always say, darling, when you're not there, it always seems dark. I keep waiting when the light comes, and you have come in. So a warm welcome to you too. I welcome Dr. G. Kishore, our principal, who's given us the freedom to do whatever we can, and that's why you find that we could expand so much. A warm welcome to Kishore sir, who's a principal of, not only principal, also the regional director of this southern region. I'd like to welcome Mr. Sujit, who's been working day and night behind the screen, trying to get in people. And by that, we could get about 8,000 participants last time. Now we have almost 5,300 is registered. So a warm welcome to you, Sujit. I also welcome Dr. Sanjay Prajapati, who's been helping us being a co-host. I welcome all the invited guests and my dear friends, especially the PE teachers, our PE community. They are the real energy, because they have to sit and they keep listening. And I'm sure with days to come, you'll be our real ambassadors who are going to make things happen. And right now, PEFI is with us, and I'm sure we're going to join hands to see that we can take physical education to the forefront. Over to Dr. Yuri, please.
Thank you so many times, Dr. Usha, for introducing me to the participants and to our honorable guests. I would like, first of all, to welcome and to thank, actually, to President Dr. Uppal, the President of the Physical Education Foundation in India, and Secretary Dr. Piyush Jain. We had a chance to speak a little bit beforehand, and it's a privilege for me to get to know you. And I hope that from here on, we will only deepen our relationship and collaboration. I would also like to mention and to welcome two of my dear colleagues and friends, Professor Dr. Rosa Lopez de Amigo from Venezuela, president of IPASCAWE and member of our executive board at ICSPE, and Vice President of ICSPE, Professor Dr. Darlene Kluka from the United States. So thank you so much, all of you. And I am so happy to be here with you this afternoon in Israel, late afternoon in India, morning in USA, and too early in the morning in Venezuela. So I really am very thrilled that I got the opportunity to share with you some of my thoughts, experience, and knowledge. And I will be listening to the program in the next days, and I'm sure I will learn so much from all the speakers. And it's a great opportunity, even not face-to-face, but through the webinar tools, to exchange opinions and understanding of our beloved profession, physical education, physical activity, and sport. But before we go into details, I would like to share with you an anecdote which I have learned during my time at the Wingate Institute when I served there as the director of the National Coaching School and later on as the Director General, the CEO of the National Sport Institute. And that's the story. Before Wingate was established, there was a person by the name of Baruch Bag, an engineer who had a dream to build the National Sport Institute of Israel. So he asked the government for some funds, and they told him, and that was just in 1948, immediately after the independence of Israel. They told him at that time, we are very short with money, but if you bring some money, we will match your money. So he knew a person, a friend of his in South Africa by the name of Greenberg. And he traveled to South Africa to meet with his friend and ask him for some donations in order to make his dream come true. When he met Mr. Greenberg in South Africa, Mr. Greenberg responded by saying, I'm so sorry. I had $50,000 and I gave them to Mahatma Gandhi. He needs them in order to get his people ready to return to India. So after a couple of days, they met at Greenberg's house for probably a coffee. And then Mahatma Gandhi heard that Mr. Bag wants some money in order to build the Sport Institute of Israel. So he said to Mr. Bag in the presence of Mr. Greenberg the following: you have already your independence. You can go back to Israel and start building your country. Here you have the $50,000 that you so much wanted. Go ahead and make your dream come true. And actually, at that time, that made the difference. Mr. Bag couldn't pay back in kind to Mr. Gandhi, but saying, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Are you sure you don't need the money? And Mahatma Gandhi repeatedly said, no, no, it's okay. And he took the money, came to Israel, got another $50,000 from the Israeli government, and with the first $100,000, they started to build the Wingate Institute, which today is Israel National Institute for Excellence in Sport, named Wingate Institute. So as you can see, we have very close relationship with India and with your greatest founder, Mahatma Gandhi. With your permission, I will start now with my presentation. So the topic is or the main theme of my presentation will be physical education, physical activity and sports, threat and challenges and opportunities, and international perspective. But before we dive into the theme, let me introduce you to ICSSPE, the International Council of Sports Science and Physical Education. Who are we? Well, we are probably the largest global network of
Dr.
government.
Yuri, Dr. Yuri, are you sharing us a slide?
Yes, I'm sharing it.
No, it's not. Please share the slide, please. 1 minute. Once again, we need to start off. Hari?
Yes, madam. Sir, please click share screen, sir. Uri, sir.
You have to do unshare. Stop
Yes, you went to
sharing.
the video.
Stop sharing, and then you share the entire screen.
Already screen
Just a
shared
minute.
stopped, sir.
How I do
Sir,
it.
please click share screen, sir. Bottom green color share screen. Yes, sir.
Yes.
You said stop sharing?
We can see the screen. You can go into the slideshow. Hari?
Yes, sir. Sir, please click.
Scene, correct. Slideshow.
Sir, click full screen, sir.
Full screen.
Make it full screen, sir.
Slideshow. We can see it, Yuri.
Stop sharing, okay?
Oh, anyway, it's again come back.
So now you share, and when you are sharing, enable the computer audio. Just click on share. Okay.
Share screen, sir.
At the top,
Bottom.
top left, you can see the entire screen, and the bottom left, you can see share computer audio.
Is it?
Sir, please click share screen, sir. Bottom.
You can
Please
see the
bottom.
green.
Green color share screen button.
He went with the.
I shared it. Share computer screen. It doesn't. I click and it doesn't operate.
Sir, please click share screen, sir.
Can
Bottom.
you send the?
A minute.
Can you mail it to? Yeah, it's seen. Correct.
Can you see it now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Is this okay now?
Yes, sir. Click,
Yes.
sir. That.
Just make it full screen. At the bottom right, you can see. I'll go to view.
Sir, right now it is not full screen, sir. Please click the
Go to
presentation
view.
view, sir.
Go to view. Slideshow. Go to slideshow at the top. On the top. So you have home, insert, design. After that, you have slideshow.
Just a minute.
Sir, otherwise it is available in bottom, sir. Directly you click the presentation view, sir. Bottom one small icon is there, sir. Bottom right side.
He's going to. You can see the slideshow.
Sir, bottom near to that zoom in, zoom out, one button, one icon is there, sir. Presentation view. Please click that one, sir. Uri, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Right side, sir. Right side bottom. Zoom in, zoom out option is there, no, sir. Near to that. Yes.
Can you get it?
I think
Otherwise, just go to slideshow at the top.
slideshow is easier.
Go to top slideshow. At the top, there is a button called slideshow.
Just a minute. Slideshow.
Yeah, see, first is file.
I will just show you 1 second.
Mhm.
It's okay. We could manage with this one. Huh? We could continue with this. It's okay. Sujit.
Okay.
So I think, Dr. Yuri, we could continue.
Yeah. Do you see it?
We can see the screen.
Okay,
We only wanted to enlarge it.
Otherwise, I'll just show you 1 second.
We can just want to enlarge it.
Okay, I'll just show you. At the bottom, can you see a link out here? Dr. Yuri, can you see the link out here at the bottom? Otherwise, go to slideshow at the top here.
I go to the top.
Go to slideshow.
View option. Zoom ratio, request remote control. No.
No. On the PowerPoint, you have to go to slideshow and then you click on from beginning. F5.
Yeah.
Just do F5.
Otherwise, let it continue.
Is that okay now?
Okay.
Dr. Yuri, you could continue, no issues.
You can share now. Just do a share screen. Do a share screen and do F5. Click on
Sure.
F5, you will get full screen.
Just a minute. Now it's okay?
Let it go.
Yeah.
I think continue the same.
Click that
Can
one.
you see it now?
Yeah, it's correct,
Yes,
correct.
yes,
Right.
correct,
Got
right.
it. Got it. Okay. Dr. Yuri, you could start. Relax. Let's
I have
start.
some problem with it.
No problems.
Okay.
Fine. We can say XP.
ICSSPE is an international council of sports science and physical education. And the question is who we are. And we are actually probably the largest global network of governmental and non-governmental organizations representing sport, science, education, and medicine. Our main tasks are to integrate research in order to enhance physical activity and sport, educate for improved quality of life and health for all peoples through physical activity and sport, and to promote policies for active lifestyles, human performance, and good governance in physical activity and sport. I will not go into more details, but just to give you an overall idea of who are our members and with who we are collaborating. Here you see it on the screen, and it starts from United Nations, UNESCO, World Health Organization, International Olympic Committee, International Paralympic Committee, WADA, and so many governmental and non-governmental sport organizations, and many more. If you have any questions or you want to go into some more details as what ICSSPE stands for and how it operates, please go into www.ixspe.org, and that's where you can learn much more about the council. And if you want to reach me personally, please don't hesitate to send me an email, and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. The question is, what do I think physical education teachers and community coaches should take into account when teaching and coaching children and youth? The first question is, what do humans like to play? Why do humans like to play? And we understand that there are so many various reasons that will explain why do we play. Very similar, by the way, to the reason why animals are playing. As you can see on the screen, we want to play in order to practice, to develop social rules, to make new friends, to manage stressful situations, to develop certain cognitive and creative skills. So when we say that we want to play, it's actually a need. And the urge to play is not a strictly learned behavior following from higher centers, but rather reflects a deep instinctive fundamental need. And it's really a necessity, not just for animals, but for us human beings. The sport socialization is very important stage in child development. And we have to start from this in order to move forward the journey. How are we going to grow children and youth to love physical education, physical activity, and sport? One of the leading researchers of competitive sport is Professor Virel de Buscher from Belgium, who developed a model to analyze and monitor sport performances in a given country and what should a country do in order to improve their performances on the world level. In other words, how a country can make more medals in Olympics and Paralympics or World Games. As you can see here in the model, we have 9 pillars. The first one on the left-hand side at the bottom, it's the financial support. That's the basis. Then we have pillar 2, governance, organization, and structure of sport policies and integrated approach. Pillar 3 is non-organized sport and physical education in schools and organized sports in the community. That's where the role of the coaches and physical education teachers come into place. And as you will read all the pillars, you will understand that almost to each and every one of those pillars, the role of the coach and the physical education teacher plays a significant role. Either pillar 7, for example, coaching provision and coach development. Pillar 6, training facilities. It depends a great deal if the coach has an outstanding facilities or not at all sporting facilities. And he has to initiate some activities in the field, in the nature, or wherever, especially in underprivileged areas or rural areas. Pillar 8, international or national competition. We understand what is the role of the coach. Scientific research and innovation, performance and talent identification. So we here see the scope of the huge role and responsibility of a coach, and at an earlier stage of the physical education teacher as those who will lead the child and the young adult to reach his maximum potential. In a study that we have conducted in 2014, and we have conducted the same study in 2017, and we got the same results, we asked 6,000 students in Israel, why or what do you expect from sport or physical activity? What are the reasons that you like to be physically active? As you can see, the children and the youth answered that 95% of them attributed the main cause for their activity to improve their health. 94% attributed it to improve fitness. 92% said they want to enjoy. 90% said they want to look good. As you will see down the chart, only 68% of the children engaged in sport because they want to win. This is very significant, and I'll come to it later. Sport is medicine. That's the slogan of the American College of Sports Medicine. Because they found that research tells us that physical activity, physical education, and sport are contributing great deal to our well-being from the physical, social, emotional, cognitive, and intellectual point of view. Children, youth, adults, or the population at all are not engaging in physical activity or sport, it is not because the product is bad, but it is because we fail to market it properly. When I say we, it's the physical education teachers and the coaches. You know, I have chosen physical education as life profession and coaching as life profession because for me, the physical education teacher and my swimming coach were role models. I loved them I was listening to them. I tried to do whatever they expected me to do. And I could see how I'm improving my skills and how I'm improving my performances. And I was so happy. The role of the physical education teachers and coaches in this regard, in other words, to motivate the kids to participate in sports, cannot be underestimated. Let me give you an example of a couple coaches and how they became role models for so many sportsmen around the world. Vince Lombardi, American well-known football coach, who actually was the head coach and general manager of the Green Bay Packers and led them for 5 NFL championships and victories in Super Bowl in 67, 68. He once said, winning is not everything. Winning is the only thing. That was said in 1959. Now think for a moment. He was a very famous and respected coach. Do you think he was right in saying winning is not everything, winning is the only thing? As you can see later, he tried to explain that his intention was that winning is not everything, but to win, or the desire to win, is the only thing. Later on, it was found that he was not the one to bring this quote first, but it was Coach Russell, USLA Bruins football coach, who said, winning is not everything, it's the only thing. But who remembers that? Everyone attributes this quote to Vince Lombardi. Another coach, which I really appreciate very, very much, and I think he was a model for so many basketball coaches and all coaches around the world, was John Wooden, who passed away in 2010 after he won 10 national championships with his UCLA university team. He also was named the National Coach of the Year 6 times and considered as one of the wisest and best college coaches in history of college basketball. He made 100 quotes, which every one of them is state of the art. I will share with you a few of them. Success comes from knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable to become. A bit complicated, but makes sense. A coach is someone who can give correction without causing resentment. The best competition I have is against myself to become better. The most important thing in the world is family and love. Who can disagree with him on that? Failure is not fatal, but failure to change might be. Is this the attitude we pass to our students, to our athletes, to our children, to the kids we train? I repeat it. Failure is not fatal, but failure to change might be. And here are some more. Young people need model, not critics. What you are as a person is far more important than what you are as a basketball player. And this is another very valuable quote. You as a human being is so more important than you as an athlete. Winning takes talent, but to repeat it takes character. Teaching players during practices was what coaching was all about. And finally, the quote which I selected, never lie, never cheat, never steal. What is a challenge? How can we as physical education teachers and coaches in the community make sure that our children and youth will get the best training possible? Or What should we take into account to provide the children and youth with proper education and instruction? And another question, what needs to be done in order to increase the possibility that our young participants will not drop out from sport and physical activity prematurely? You know that almost every child at an early age engage in sport and physical activity. How many remain in sport and physical activity? Well, that is something we will have to face in a short while. In a project ICSSPE ran together with Nike and the American College of Sport Medicine some years ago, we have checked what happened actually in the first 10 years that will provide a critical window to create a lifelong commitment to physical activity among children and youth. But before we go into that project, we need to ask ourselves, why do children play sports? And we have to understand that we cannot relate to all children in the same way. Not only that there are differences between ages and females and males, but there are also differences between individuals. When we deliver the sport message, the physical activity message, the physical education process to the child, we have to realize that what one child understands, other one has some difficulties to understand, and we will have to repeat the same instruction and guidelines few times, because every child develops differently. But at the very end of the process, they reach the final line and they are all the same. So we coaches and physical education teachers, we definitely have to be so patient and so careful when we talk to the children whom we love so much. When children are asked why they play sport, the most common answer is fun. And I've presented it to you in a study we conducted in Israel, and it's true all over the world. Fun means different things to different ages of children. Younger children tends to mean play and pleasure. Older children tends to relate to more often mean the satisfaction of learning new skills, of being with friends and developing personal competencies and new skills. This leads us to a consequence. Teachers, coaches, and parents should consider the age and level of development of the child. Each child is a whole world, and we have to be so careful and so sensitive to the child in training him or her. In the study that we conducted, we found that children play sport because they want to develop their competence, they want to enjoy and to have fun. They engage in sport because their parents actually educated them and led them to participate in the activity. And as you know, children to active parents tend to be far more physically active than children to inactive parents. As much as we know that children to obese people have much higher chances to become obese children rather than children that their parents are in the proper weight. Children engage in sport because they want to learn new skills and because they want to make new friends and join their peers. Why children disengage from sport? And that is actually a threat. And they see it as a threat. when they have no more fun, when the coach always tell the child what to do, when the child is not making the team, as he said, I don't play, I'm not good enough, or when the child lost interest and don't have friends, or the child like to play, but he doesn't want always to win, and he doesn't want always to have competition. He came just because he wants to play. And this is so simple. And for many coaches, so hard to understand. Today's children are the first generation to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. And you know why? Because their world, by and large, is less active, physically active, than in years before, than in the past. People are not eating proper food. And people, as I said, are not active enough. And that's why research tells us that the new generation probably will have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. For the first time ever, what happens in the early age? What happened in the early years? What do we need to take into account as coaches and physical education teachers? Listen to that experience of 3 persons that I will share with you what they have experienced and what it did to them. This is me, 6 years old and standing in a sack in the middle of the field, somewhere in the middle of England, a long time ago. I don't know why I'm here or what I'm doing. I don't have any idea what the purpose is of the standing in the field. All I know is that they want me to jump, hold the sack as tight as I can, and jump, jump, jump to the finishing line. I'm surrounded by people, but all alone. There is a horrible feeling in my tummy and an itch on my leg, like a fly crawling over it. I shiver and wait for a whistle to blow. Just looking at the finish line gives me a tight feeling all over. My physical education teacher was shouting. This is another case. My physical education teacher was shouting when it was my turn to run the 100 meter. Oh, Reynolds is up. Someone get me a calendar to time him? I learned to hate physical education. Through high school and college, I let myself go, physically hating to participate in sports, and that turned into hatred of exercise. And let's listen to this experience.
Sir, audio is not coming, sir.
Can you make it slightly louder? Audio?
That's what you want to do. You know,
Yeah,
just
it's okay.
because you can do that anytime. Maybe we can skip your next game. Hmm? Because choosing to waste your time, that's one thing. But wasting my time and your coach's time, that's selfish. You don't care about other people. You don't care about hard work. You don't care about teamwork. That's why you're always on the bench every time it matters. So, if you want to keep playing, you need to take a good hard look at yourself
So what do you think about this clip? Do you agree with the father? Do you think that's a way to educate your child to fall in love with sport, physical activity, and physical education? Did you see the note that said that 70% of the children disengage from sport before high school? Do you understand the percentage of children who are actually leaving sport and physical activity and probably will not come back to it in years to come, and what it does to their self image and to their self confidence? This is something that is in our hands. Well, what should we do? High volume of intensity and duration of practice is not good. Beginning at an early age, usually during elementary school, we can start practicing, but we should not specialize. Focusing on one specific activity to the exclusion of others is a great mistake. Children should be exposed to a variety of sports before they decide to which sport they want to devote their time, energy, efforts, and talent. Often, but not always, initiated by adults, and that is not what we want to get. And 5, with the goal of elite success, this will lead us to drop out from the activity at a too early stage. Here you see one Indian guy, a very young one, 4 years of age, from New Delhi, who is busy spending the time playing with their parents, collecting toys, but there is this prodigy in Delhi who is already making headlines as a cricketer. Can you believe it? So early specialization is not good, but likelihood of children identified as talented progressing to elite sport, here you see the percentages who will make it to the top. It's less than 1%, far less than even 0.5% of the children who starts specializing at a very early age who will make it to the medal, to the Olympic medal or to the world-class medal. We need to understand that specialization should start not before the child is 10 years of age. And in some sports, this is already too early. In a project we conducted with some partners for the European Union, we have checked the physical activity in the community, the level of the physical activity in the community, and how it serves the society. We learned that 42% of the Europeans are physically inactive. And the research aim was to find out what is the cost of the inactivity crisis, and to see and learn the situation as deep as possible, and how we engage change makers and sport prescribers to grasp and how HEPA aligns with their objectives. What we found is that local level administration has a much stronger impact on the individuals than national policies have. So you people in the community, you can make the difference. You in the community, whenever you initiate a project, it has chances to be implemented. Don't hesitate to share new ideas and to bring them forward. You don't need always the government or the national level ministry to tell you what to do. The recommendation of the past project included to provide a coordinated approach in the delivery of physical activity opportunities through cooperation between all stakeholders and sectors, to use physical activity as a means of prevention of misbehavior, misconduct, to recognize physical literacy as a key component of the European framework for key competencies, to provide fun, inspiring, and effective interventions to create a lifelong love for sport, physical activity for all, to design spaces and places for people to be active. Furthermore, in order to reach not just the coaches and physical education teachers or the schools will be active, we came up with a concept of active cities in order to conduct a Europe-wide representative survey of municipalities, physical activity policies and practices, to create a matrix for change and to develop and deliver a communication campaign. And it was very successful. In another study that relates to what should be done in the early years, it was found the following. Infants should get as much physical activity as possible and be prevented as little as possible from following their natural instinct to move. Preschool children, physical activity should amount to a total of 180 minutes daily, comprising instructed and non-instructed physical activity. Primary school children should be moderately to vigorously physically active for 90 minutes up to 60 minutes of that. Time can be spent on everyday activities. Adolescent, the same as above. The early years are influencing the lifelong engagement in sport and physical activity. Target groups of supporting activities have to include families, child care facilities, and schools, and have to be on quality, quantity, and setting. In this respect, I cannot but emphasize and re-emphasize the role of the parents to help engage the children to physical activity and sport. And I'm trying today to change the existing paradigm that when the child is 5 or 6 years of age, we the parents are taking him to a swim teacher and ask him to teach our child to swim. In my opinion, I think we can instruct the parents how they should teach their children to swim. They will be more active. They will develop wonderful relationship with their child. They will have a lot of fun together. It will unite the family and will enable the family to be active together in the swimming pool. We also emphasize quality physical education. In one of the studies we have performed with UNESCO and Nike, and we learned that the physically literate individual will enjoy discovering new activities and will welcome advice and guidance, confident in the knowledge that they will experience some success and will be able to look ahead through the life course with the expectation that participation in physical activity will continue to be a part of life. Early child should have positive movement experience, and this is up to us, physical education teachers and coaches. Only if we will understand that a child should return home happy, with a positive attitude, then we can say that we are successful. To physical education teachers, and in order to reach quality physical education, we recommend conduct multi-component approaches to reach all pupils and offer a wide range of activities also for those who do not like physical activity. Quantitatively, increase the amount of time for physical activity, more physical education lessons, as well as active breaks. And this is something I want to emphasize. Try to make sure that the breaks are used for activities, for sport events, for physical activity, and even every lesson in the school should, in my opinion, start with 5 minutes physical exercises, each child next to his seat with a teacher. Qualitatively improve the opportunities for physical activity by optimizing the activity time during physical education lessons. Develop the competencies of the school staff responsible for physical activity. And it relates also to the physical education teachers who are working in the community, because you don't work with all the children, you work with your group, with a team, and try to imply those recommendations with your children in the afternoon. Improve the integration of physical activity into the curriculum of schools, create a physical activity friendly environment, involve the parents, and promote active transport on the way to school, either cycling, walking, and not just being transported by the parent, if possible. In one of our publications of the International Council of Sports Science and Physical Education publication, based on our research evidence, we find the following. Schools that promote physical activity achieve better academic results than schools that do not. Members of sport clubs like and to attend school more than those who are not members of sport clubs. Fitter children perform better on literacy and numeracy tests than their unit peers. Older adults who exercise regularly keep their cognitive functions longer and stronger than those who are inactive. So do we need a global approach? I think you understand already that we need a global approach, because the problem is not in one country, it actually covers the whole world. There is a global increase of non-communicable diseases due to the fact that people are inactive. There is a growing demand for discussion around physical activity of the past 15 years. Changes of policies, programs, and missions of various stakeholders like UNESCO, WHO, or the International Olympic Committee. So what can we do? As you know, the United Nations and WHO have developed the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and we are trying to make sure that we will have physical activity, physical education goals that will meet those goals in the program that relates to sport, physical activity, and physical education. The reason we need to do it is because over 23% of the adults and 81% of the teenagers do not do enough regular physical activity. So in most countries, levels of inactivity are higher in girls and women compared with boys and men across all ages, and inactivity increases with age. Having said this, we understand that the pandemic is not just the COVID-19 which we face at the moment, but it's a non-communicable diseases pandemic which we all should relate to and make sure that we are doing our very best to meet the expectation of our children, youth, males and females. Regular physical activity remains an important strategy for staying healthy during this period. Moderate physical activity is associated with better immune functioning. It is also associated with lower levels of anxiety and perceived stress. And this implies that during stressful times, such as this, the pandemic of the COVID-19, the coronavirus, People need to move more and sit less throughout the day and not stay at home as in many countries they were asked actually to stay. Therefore, we request in a letter that we send to the IOC, WHO, UNESCO, and IPC that under such a visionary approach, you share with your member states and member organizations the importance of including physical activity, physical education, as well as competitive sport in all plans as we look ahead to the future. We recommended to the leading organization of the world to promote the need for more opportunities to be physically active during the pandemic and related shutdown wherever possible, particularly outdoors, realizing social distancing. Ensure the inclusion of physical education, physical activity in competitive sport as a post-pandemic period begins. Emphasize the importance of regular physical education when reopening schools. Several countries at this time have decided not to offer physical education, but offer academic subjects to use all physical activity areas for other classes, and this is bad. Seek to resume training of athletes on all performance levels with consideration and provision of WHO guidelines. It is evident that the physical education and sport process will be more successful if the client, the student, the athlete, the child will enjoy it and be happy. When I was a swimming coach and beforehand when I worked as a physical education teacher, I had always two smileys with me. One box with a lot of smileys and one box with a lot of unhappy smiley. And at the end of each lesson or each practice, I asked every sportsman, every child, every student to let me know what he or her thinks about the quality of the lesson or the practice. If it was good and they are happy with it, they should pick up a smiley and drop it to the smiley box. If they think it was not good and they are unhappy, they should pick up the unhappy card and drop it to the unhappy box. And in this way, I could learn immediately after the practice whether I delivered properly or I failed to meet the expectation of the children or the youth. As you can see, many people tend to believe and associate sport with good outcomes only. It develops the economy, promotes healthy living, fun and joy, training and competing skills, adapting values, and making new friends, and many more. But that's not true. Because they don't realize that sport can be associated with harmful and problematic issues as well. Match fixing, doping, cheating and corruption, child abuse, sexual harassment, sports injuries, manipulation. Whenever I coached, I had sessions devoted to educating my athletes, my swimmers, my students at school, how important it is to stay away from match fixing, from doping, from cheating, to be honest, to be truthful, to invest efforts. That is what education is all about, and that is the role and responsibility of each and every one of us. So what would I recommend each and every one of you to do? As physical education teacher or community coach, remember your important role as an educator. You are a role model. Allow for a wider definition of sports success. Remember that every child is different. Encourage children to participate in a variety of different unstructured activities. Make a commitment to promote safety, healthy, and respect for the rules, other athletes, and the game, while adopting specific policies and procedures to avert harassment and abuse. Adopt the concept of fair play. In higher physical education institutions, the educators should pay special attention to the fight against doping and drug use among students and any other antisocial behavior. You may consider awarding students and athletes who are not smoking and were found to have an integrity and ethical behavior all along the studies or training at the college or community. You have a checklist. Have you checked how many female athletes participate in sport activities in your school or community? What do you do in order to enhance and motivate girls to engage in the activity? How many athletes from the lower socioeconomic strata are members of the community's team in each sport? And not how many, but how do you change it? How do you get more athletes from the lower socioeconomic strata? Do all athletes in your school or community have equal opportunity to engage in sporting activities? Initiate a research which will shed light on the implementation of this policy in your college, school, community. If you don't get online information about whether you are on the track or not, in other words, if you cannot monitor your activities, then how do you know if what you do is right or wrong? And let me finish with a short video clip coming from Sport Wales, explaining us why sport for life is something so meaningful and significant. Not operating. Just a minute.
Harry, I think you'll have to guide, sir, if it's a video. Sujit? Sujit, if it's a video, you'll have to tell, sir. Harry?
Sir, click on click, sir.
You are
Click
operating
below the
it and
video,
not
sir.
me. Maybe if I will open it, it will work.
Yeah, the video is lost, so you'll have to.
Can you close your slideshow?
You have to close it.
I will close mine.
You have to reinsert the video. Video location is changed.
Now I think I can play. Just 1 minute.
Okay. No, it's still not there. I will just click on that. Make it F5. F5 or go to slideshow. Make it full screen by going to slideshow at the top and click on slideshow on the menu. After home, insert, design, transition, animation, then your slideshow at the top.
On the top, I push the remote control.
No. Okay. So then you just press F5. Just make it
F5?
F5.
Pushed
Just press F5. Yeah.
F5. Yes.
Just click on the video. Yeah, it will play. It will play. The video will play. Yeah, just click on that. No, I think the video is not there.
It's not inserted properly, sir. I think.
Video is not inserted properly.
It's inserted in my presentation. Let me see. Let me try one more minute.
You can directly start video.
You can play the video outside, maybe.
Yeah. Let me. Can you take it?
Just escape. Just to escape. Escape key.
Doing escape, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, it will work. Or
just a minute. Let me see if I can take this away.
Just press escape. It should work. Escape key. Top left. Yeah. The video is not there, so I think you'll have to insert. Go to insert. Go to insert. After home, there is a button called insert at the top.
Cannot move the
video. The video is not there. You'll have to insert the video again, or just play the video from your desktop.
Okay, here. Let me show it where it is. Just wait a second, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Here I will. That is a video.
No, you will have to share just
this one.
No, the video is not. I'll just request for remote control. Give me the remote control.
Here, approve.
Okay. So
here it is. Fit for life in the middle of the computer. You see, of the screen.
No.
So just 1 second. I think do escape. Come out of it first. From unshare, just unshare it. On Zoom, not so you've done. So you'll have to go back. No, I cannot.
Yeah.
The video. So open the video and then you do a share screen of that video.
We'll open the window. Just a minute.
When you open, just open the top left. When you say share, just click on share once. Click on share once, just once.
Everyone hooked on sport for life. That means giving every girl and every boy the opportunity to get into sport.
Unshare, please unshare. Click on share only once, and then you will see lot of windows.
I don't get the.
It will say screen at the top.
Don't get the zoom on my screen.
Sir, Uri sir, please click share screen, sir, in bottom.
When you
bottom,
say
click share screen, then
share
after that you can share your video, sir. Click share screen, sir, in bottom.
I cannot. I don't. I lost the. Actually, I see only myself on the screen. I don't see anything else.
Okay, click on escape button. Can you see now? Top left is the escape button. Maybe you can do without.
It's initializing.
Okay.
let's start with the Dr. Yuri.
Maybe you can just take some discuss with
questions.
maybe with
Dr. Yuri, I can't see him now.
maybe Dr. Uppal, you can ask some questions while
One
he's
minute,
starting.
Dr. Yuri is not there.
No, sir has removed, madam. Sir will reconnect again.
Ma'am, you can have discussion with Dr. Uppal and then
Dr. Uppal, sir.
Piyush, sir.
Dr. Uppal sir lost his connection.
Okay, so yeah. So, ma'am, you can have a conversation with others while we'll resolve the issue with Dr. Uri. It has been a fascinating presentation. Such a lot of interesting insights. Sorry to all the participants, just a little technical glitch, probably 2-3 minutes will take.
I think Dr. Piyush Jain, could you just speak in the meantime?
So it was a nice presentation by Dr. Uri about the physical education and sports coaches, and it will be very much helpful for the participants, those who are participating in this program. As far as the Uri sir has mentioned lots of things, lots of research work on the physical education. In the same line, in India, we should also conduct the same research, because there is a lots of difference between the countries about their body structure and all other things which is related to the physical education. So it will be a very good idea if we conduct this type of research in our country also. As far as PAFI is concerned, our main motto is that how we can develop and create the sports culture in India. Basically, in India, everyone is focusing about the medal. So we have to differentiate between the medal perspective players and the curriculum for the general public. So everyone, include mass participation is required to develop the sports culture in our country, because participation is very less in the sports activities due to some family reasons, due to not career opportunities in physical education and sports. That's why there is a very less participation in the our physical education programs in India. So it is very important that not only we are celebrating the 100th year of the physical education here in India, also we have also completed the 100 years of our participation in Olympic Games. So before 100 years, we got only 2 medals in Olympic and in our first Olympic presentation, and now in our last Olympic presentation, we also got the same 2 medals. So there is a need, urgent need to develop and create the sports culture. There is a urgent requirement to develop the infrastructure also. In India, we have more than 13 lakhs schools, but out of these 13 lakhs schools, we don't have the proper infrastructure. We don't have the physical educator to promote and inculcate the physical activities. So I think presentation from the Dr. Uri is emphasizing in the importance of physical education and sports. So all of us, it's our responsibility as a policy maker, as a physical educator. It is our responsibility to grassroots for the physical education teacher, and especially emphasize, because today is also, it's a very important day that today is having the International Youth Day. And India is a country where our population is 65% 5% is youth and below 35 years. So we have lots of potential in our country, in our youth. So we all should focus, not only the selected cities, we should move towards our villages. There is more than 6,000 blocks is there. So we should all the moves from the move towards our villages and find out the and make a program so we can got the talent from there. Earlier in the 2016, Physical Education Foundation of India started a project A Club, where we would like to be develop the program for the sports villages program, where we want to develop the infrastructure, because infrastructure is much important. We see that in our villages there is no infrastructure. Infrastructure is only specified on some specific cities. So on this platform, I request to all the physical education teachers that we should learn from the Uri sir presentation and give our best for the development of physical education at grassroots level. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. And indeed, PEFI is taking a lead initiative. As you rightly pointed out, we don't have documentation. I think this should be a platform where we decide that we need to come out with some sort of a documentation, and we can do in a research which we collaborate with the other agencies and then have it. Thank you so much, sir, for taking this initiative and making this a platform.
One thing which I would like to add, that we have a lots of indigenous activity, means Swadeshi Khel on some particular state, is like in Kishore sir is promoting the Kalaria Pattu in Kerala. So recently PEFI has conducted one webinar on this, that how Swadeshi Khel, how our Indian games can promote and develop the our players for the Olympic Games. Like if we see the Kho-Kho game, Kho-Kho is more involvement of such type of activity. The player which involved in the Kho-Kho activity, they can also come in the football field. So like our new education policy has introduced in India, and they promoted the for the up to 5th year, 5 साल तक के बच्चे के लिए, we are promoting the this Swadeshi. So that's why we also promote the Swadeshi Khel for these 5 up to 5 class. This is one more thing I would like to add.
Okay, thank you, sir. It was nice indeed. We'll take note of it, and we should start it off. And this is the right platform. And I'm sure with this, the second batch, we should try setting up things and bringing it in records. May I request Dr. Yuri, it was indeed wonderful. I think the session was so elaborate and exhaustive. May I request Dr. Rosa for your comments, please. Dr. Rosa. It's mute, ma'am. You need to unmute.
Yes, sorry. There were several elements that were mentioned by Dr. Uri in his excellent presentation. There are some remarks that we need to take into account, and it's basically like teachers training scheme. So do we have a teachers training programs for coaches? Coaches education in many countries in the world still is an issue. And there are many kids that have been practicing sport with people who are not prepared to teach them. So I have to Dr. Uri 2 questions related with, because he has more experience in the sense about coaching education worldwide. I mean, the global tendency. And I know, I mean, places of the world where there's no coaching education scheme. So I just would like to know if he can give us some more details about how's the situation nowadays in the world. The second question is related with some sport disciplines that traditionally it has been established that they are early young age specializations, such as artistic gymnastics or ice skating, artistic ice skating. So I think there are two issues that get involved in these sports because there are international demands in terms of the model that have been followed when to start practicing those sports and when those kids start competing, because I think that's what makes it different. When the kids are allowed to compete either at provincial, state, or national levels. So in some places, they start nationwide, being very young. So we are exploiting kids' talent at a very young age. And we know that that brings consequences, okay? So please, can you just give me more details about those two questions? And thank you.
Dr. Yuri, you need to unmute.
Dr. Usha,
Yeah.
I see that Dr. Uri is not on
No, I'm
at
on.
this
No.
time.
Now
Oh, you
it's on.
are on. Okay,
Darlene,
thank you.
I'm here. Here I am.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry we couldn't operate the video clip. It's such a wonderful video clip. I'm so sad about it. But anyhow, you people in India, you'll have to invite me once more, so I will come with a video clip. I don't know.
Sure.
Anyhow, Rosa, in regard to your question, coach education in the world is very different in each country. There are some common bases that we can say are similar, but in many cases, it's very different. I'll give you an example. In most countries in the world, including USA, Australia, Canada, and Europe, the people who can coach the infants, the little children, are volunteers with no knowledge and not know how they should actually deliver the activity. When I was in the United States and I was working, I was astonished to see it, and it was some good number of years ago, when parents came and actually at the community center were activating the children, were coaching the children. It was just an activity, but nothing to learn from. Nowadays, in Europe, in Canada, I think even in the United States, maybe Darlene can update us about it. Even volunteers should have some training before they go to coach children. As you might know, we run now together with the International Council of Coaching Excellence, the ICSSPE, the PEAK project, where we're trying to come with recommendations for government in Europe as to what should be the policy about coach education and coaching, because this is a great need in Europe, and the European Union decided to finance this research because they found it of importance. And so one of our Erasmus Plus projects is now the PEAK project, which we are leading together with the ICCE and 6 more organizations in Europe. I can also shed some more light about the differentiation about the coach education programs. In many countries today, you can go and study coaching in a university and obtain an academic degree. Where in some other countries, actually in most countries, coaching is still not recognized as an academic profession. And we all know that if we want to put coaching on the map as a substantial profession, government should realize that it should be part of the academic courses available. And in this regard, I know that some countries have done some progress, some others have not, but this is on the agenda of many coaching association and sport organizations in various countries. Concerning your second question, you know, me as a father to a gymnast who participated in 1991 in the World Championship, in the World Gymnastic Championship, and my daughter actually quit immediately following the championship, where she performed quite well, I have to say. She started at the 6 years of age, practicing almost daily. I don't think that if you go to ask her, Sharon is her name, if this has done good to her, I'm not sure she will say yes. And she's not practicing today, even though she knows she should keep practicing, not necessarily in gymnastics, but she should do some physical activity. And she has 2 daughters, and she's not the right example to her daughters. And she knows it, and she fights with herself. And hopefully, because of her father, she will come to the conclusion she should start practicing soon. But overall, generally speaking, I think the International Gymnastic Federation realized the problem. And today we see gymnasts, female, who are far older than years before, not to mention the male gymnasts that they are over 30 years of age. So there is a change in the concept of specializing in gymnastics, and I think it's for the better. How good it is today, I cannot tell you. I'm not expert of gymnastics, but I can relate to the tremendous, horrible situation in the United States when we learned that the physician of the Gymnastic Federation sexually abused the national female team of the United States. And he is now brought to trial. I think he was sentenced for so many years. And that was a case that the whole world was shocked. So yes, we have a problem with it, and I agree with you. But I think that this goes back to what I said. Don't start early specialization. Of course, not before the age of 10, when the child understands what he would like to do. In most cases, it's the coach and the parents who decide what the child should do. And that is not correct. It's not acceptable. In my view, a child, an athlete, him or herself should be responsible for their decision to engage in this sport or that sport and to focus on this activity or another. I hope I answered to some extent to your question.
That was great. Thank you, Dr. Yuri. It was great to hear from this. Dr. Darlin, your comments, please.
All right. A very, very interesting set of topics and issues and situations. I wish that ICSSPE was able to solve all of them, but we will continue to work in a manner that will hopefully make a difference one person at a time, if nothing else. That said, Yesterday, we talked a little bit with Dr. Uri and Dr. Rosa on the issue of coaching is teaching and is teaching coaching. And so one of the participants asked a question about more and more young people are going to the virtual world for video games and video kinds of experiences rather than actually participating. So do any of us have some suggestions as to what physical education teachers can look for through the internet on teaching and coaching using some of maybe the technology programs that are available to them at this moment to get them to incorporate what the students are really excited about, but still keep them physically active? I have a couple of suggestions and maybe that will get us started. There has been an interesting development for geocache, and that's GEOCACHE. And what it is really is getting the students outdoors, getting them to use directions, in other words, north, south, east, west, and try to locate different things in the way of a puzzle or in the way of looking and finding things. So this encourages them to be outdoors. They may get some physical activity throughout, but it gets them to go on like an outdoor treasure hunt. So that might be something that people could incorporate. So that's geocache. The other thing that I think might be of interest is, again, the idea of developing a unit or a curriculum base on heart rate and fitness levels. And so you wind up doing physical activities based upon what do they do for you in terms of your physical fitness. And so that may be anything from doing walking with some goals rather than just say go walk for 5 minutes. It also allows them to take their heart rates. If they don't have the Polar or the Fitbit or whatever it is, that's fine. They will learn to take their pulse for 15 seconds in whatever they're doing. So maybe by simply changing the focus of what you're doing in your physical education courses for a unit, that may also give a little different way of looking at the notion of incorporating technology. There are a number of things that have been put out by the Polar, Polar company. And one of the people she just happens to be from the US, Beth Kirkpatrick, has done a tremendous job on how do you use technology based upon fitness levels to improve yourself. And that's a very different look at physical education from a fitness base, because that's where you get the participation and sport for health, if you will. And then there's also, as Uri said beautifully today, that there's also sport for excellence or sport for performance. And I think that we're beginning worldwide to see that there has begun to be this kind of a split that's based on excellence in physical activity and physical education, but one goes to performance and competition while the other goes for health and self-improvement. That's, again, just my perspective on that. So those are a couple of things. And so perhaps Dr. Uri or Dr. Rosa or Dr. Usha or Dr. Sanjay have some other ideas about how that technology piece to get them away from only virtual activities can be incorporated. So thanks.
Thank you.
If I may, Jen,
Yeah.
I totally agree with Dr. Darlene Kluka. I think she made a very, very strong point, which is in a way another subject that we should actually deal with, and that is technologies, gamification, e-sport. They all are relatively new. They are somehow related, and they have a lot of influence on the teens and the young adults, and we need to be very alert to the development of those new technologies. As far as sport and physical activity is concerned, on the shelf you will find so many technologies that makes your practice more accurate, more interested, and in a way motivates you to get immediate feedback on how did you perform and how good you are versus yesterday, 1 month ago, and so on and so forth. So I think in this respect, there are tools today, digital tools that can help great deal to an individual, to a team, to practice and improve their performances, whether it's for sport as a leisure activity or sport in a competitive scene. In my view, it doesn't make a difference. The usage of the technology is what counts. I even think that there are today some technologies, and I think in India it's very common, that, for example, you can ride your bike at home on a special device and feel as if you are in the mountains or biking through mountains. So all kind of these new technologies are actually increasing the options to make fun and to enjoy the activity. And that is what sport and physical activity is all about, how we make it. And between you and me, to practice 4 times a week, every time 1 hour, is not easy. I know Darlene has a tricycle and she rides, I don't know if every day or every second day, but when she gets back home, she sweats and she has to take a shower, and it takes time, and then she has to fix her hair. And if you don't understand that physical activity and sport, it's time consuming. If we don't integrate it to our daily routine life, it will not happen. And this has to do with education, with self-discipline, and with a desire not to see a physician as long as possible.
Well, that's great.
This is why I am today 70 years of age, and I ride the bike and I swim and I run to an extent, and thank God, probably because of my parents too, I don't see a physician very often, and I feel young and I feel energetic, and I feel that I can perform almost whatever physically I would like to perform. And this is why I keep training. And the problem is that you cannot tell it to a child, you cannot tell it to a teenager. They will not understand what I'm saying. I mean, they are not there. We have to find a way to approach the children in their own language, in the world that they understand, and then keep them practicing and making them enjoy the activity. And from here on, once they will graduate and will become young adults, they will keep doing it, because then they will understand that it is important for their well-being from all the perspective I have presented.
Yeah, Dr. Uri, this is not my question. It is from the every physical educator here in India also, that we are facing the lockdown from last 5 months. How can we encourage them to the physical activity due to this virtual meeting? Because when physical educator is going to take class on virtual mode daily, how we can motivate them, how we can encourage them, because in your presentation you have mentioned that that fun and enjoy activity is more important for developing the physical fitness. So is there any medium, or is there any presentation where lots of recreational activity? My point is that how our PE teacher daily encourage the child in this virtual meetings, virtual classes.
Dr. Yuri?
Is it to me the
You
question?
Yeah, yeah. He's saying is during in the. I think you understood. Dr. Piyush Jain wanted to know, because there are a number of PE teachers, how in a virtual world, because now everything is virtual due to lockdown, how can you motivate the athletes and children to give activities which are more fun oriented and that they can continue doing? When it is face-to-face interaction, it's easier, but how can we manage that in this lockdown situation?
Well, I think you are absolutely right. It's far complicated than face-to-face. My thought would be to organize set of competitions between teachers who will initiate, who will become entrepreneur, who will come with new ideas, who will make it possible to educate and do some exercises via the net. And I think it is not easy, but it's possible. And between you and me, I have taught, I was a swimmer, then I was a swimming coach, then I had my personal, my own swimming school. And today, after I taught my grandchild, my granddaughter to swim, I came to the conclusion that we should not teach anymore the children to swim as swim teacher. It's the parents who should teach them. How do I do it? I've hired a photographer, a producer, and some experts in digital development, and produced 8 video clips from the very first stage at home. How a child should get used to the water at home. How a child should blow bubbles at home, in a glass, in a pot, in a shower, in a bath, with clothes, not with a swimsuit, where all teachers, swim teachers, are starting to teach their children to swim in the pool. I start at home, and it's a change of a paradigm. And now I put it in Facebook and have a digital course for parents who would like to teach their children to swim. And I have already relations with one of the world leading home swimming pools stationed in the United States, in Palm Beach, Florida, by the name of Intex, and they are interested. And so I think that we need to change our set of mind. We have to change differently than what we use. You and I, we were grown in one concept. Today, it's totally different. You could see how difficult it was for me to manage the Zoom and to find the way how I upload the video clip. And for a child, I mean, 10 years of age, he probably could do it like that. So it's a different generation. We have to admit it.
but we have to try to understand them in order to help them. In most cases, between you and me, children today know more than what their teachers know, because they browse through Google's, they gain information, they picking up fast what they need to learn and study, and they try, and in most cases they are successful. And sometimes it bothers me.
If I may enter in, Woody, that was perfect, and I love your passion. You know, I've been listening and participating for a little while in this adventure from India, and it just occurred to me as Dr. Piyush and Dr. Woody have been speaking, that maybe one of the puzzle parts missing could be the bridge to the parents. Okay, and so Uri said this very nicely about the swimming piece. I loved it. Maybe to use science and technology as the bridge to the parents, because it sounded like if the children go to school and they are excited about physical education and physical activity, they have a difficult time when they get home in the culture that says, well, physical education and physical activity are not terribly important. All right, and so who is holding that value that it's not very important? It could be that the parents need to somehow be involved, and maybe through the technology and the science, that may be the hook that webinars and so forth could be to parents to get them to appreciate and to actively participate in what they're, what message they're sending to their children. Just a thought.
Darlene, I totally agree with you, and I want to bring an example of what you have said. In Liverpool, Liverpool was one of the most problematic cities in England, with a high crime rate and very low number of people who were physically active. And they had, together with TAFISA, the world leading organization for sports for all, and the International Olympic Committee, and a business company by the name of Evaleo in Lausanne, station in Lausanne, Switzerland, they developed a concept of how a city can be more active. And one of the things they have done, and by the way, every movement, every activity they have assigned, they have developed and materialized, were monitored by the Liverpool Moore University. So we have to understand that whatever we propose should be monitored and evaluated. To make the long story short, we know that whenever a child is assigned to a program in a community center or in a sport club, who is actually driving him to the program? The mother or the father. What are they doing in this hour when the child is active? They probably will take the smartphone, will call their friends, will do some businesses, or stay boring, not to know, waiting for the child to finish his time. In Liverpool, they reach out to the parents and ask them, what do you wish to do when your child is active in football? Do you want to practice gymnastics? Do you want to do cycling? What do you want to do physically in order to use this hour for your own health benefits? Surprisingly, the percentage of parents who participated and are participating today in the program, when they are transporting the children to the activity and they park the car and go to do some physical activity by themselves, is hitting the ceiling. And it's an unbelievable success. The same happened in Buenos Aires, in Melbourne, in those cities who were in the same project. And we ICSSPE are promoting today this activity as much as possible, and maybe we can think about a joint project between India and ICSSPE and see how we can promote it. Maybe we ask Tafisa to join and we try to see how to change the situation. Because when a parent will see his child active, when a child will see his parent active, they will be so better relaxed and their relationship are going to turn to be so positive, and they will have so much fun, and it will build a family union, and that's what we want.
I also
Thank you, Dr.
would like,
Yeah.
I also would like to add to the wonderful ideas that have been mentioned by Darlene and Yuri. It's related with some experiences during pandemic time. And particularly because we know that what humanity is going right now cannot be solved only from one focus. It has to be done interdisciplinary, and all organizations have to work together, for example, within a country. So there are some places in which there's no internet access. So in some places, community radio has worked pretty well. So in order, for example, to have like half an hour of activity, and then through community radio, it gets to the community. In other places, it has been with just only one street with a megaphone and with distance. So people are doing physical activity. And in other countries where there is a national channel that belongs to the government, for example, then they have included like half an hour of physical activity, and sometimes like Zumba, another day Tai Chi, another day aerobics, to make it different. So people who are at home, they are doing this sort of activity. So those are the ways in which it can get to everybody, because we know that not everybody has internet access or has a computer or a tablet. So wherever we can just check, and when I say we, physical education teachers who continue with the school years, and in some places they have been given more importance to the other subjects, okay, to what they consider the science subject, they have left out physical education. So check the potential that you have in your community, and from there, then you can exploit. But I know that community radio has worked pretty well. And there are others international experience. I mean, just yesterday, I mean, and it's out of a sudden, here at home, suddenly I saw my son and daughter doing an aerobic class from a Mexican teacher. So this person in Mexico is conducting these live classes, and people from many places can get connected. So there are some experiences that people have come out with in terms of being active in pandemic time. Alone, we cannot leave the parents and the kids alone at home. We have to look for the ways how to support them.
Yeah, Dr. Kishore and Dr. Usha, you know what Dr. Rosa had to say is so important. And this is where maybe you can link the minister with the community, and then through the university, a grant of some type. And I love the idea that Dr. Uri had about all of us collaborating and using India as the experimental ground, if you will, to be able to see, can we get the attitude of the parents to change, so that the children will have a wonderful opportunity to be supported in their participation in physical activity. That is a true change of culture. Now, you all know that. And we see still in this country, we suffer from that as well. So this might be a wonderful pilot project between the ministry and the university and the communities. Just a thought.
Thank you, Dr. Kluka. In line with Dr. Yuri, even our principal, Dr. G. Kishore, what he did was, we do have a summer camp. So where the parents bring in their children, and Dr. Kishore mentioned is none of you are going to sit with mobile phones, and we introduced a physical activity for the parents. From 40, it reached to 80. We had age range from 25 to 70-year-old coming and running on the track, almost 12 rounds of the track. So hats off to Kishore, sir. We started this project, it went on very well, and we found it did work. But during the pandemic, it stopped. But it's a very active, the parents group has become very active. Even they may be obese, but you find them, they make it a point of running in a 400-meter track. They come and jog 10, 12 rounds. So they are now, so I think because he's a fitness freak, as you said, Kishore sir, maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, he makes it a point of doing it. And wherever he goes, he makes it a point of promoting that. But definitely we'd like to take up a project. Sujit, please, for the words that you'd like to say. Mr. Sujit. Kishore sir.
And a wonderful discussion, wonderful session. And we have touched on almost all pertinent points regarding physical education, physical activity and sports in a global perspective. It was a wonderful session. I would like at the very outset to congratulate Dr. Yuri Schaefer for his excellent presentation, and with the vast knowledge, it shows the depth of knowledge and the experience which you have in this field. In fact, if you remember, Dr. Yuri has started his presentation talking, about the relation of India and Israel, wherein he has quoted about the Gandhi's Mahatma Gandhi. To the information, I think Mahatma Gandhi is less known to be a physical educationist, but he was very fond of physical activities and sports. During his student days, it was said to be that every day he used to walk around 8 to 10 kilometers, and that is why during the freedom movement he had the strength and willpower to take on the colonial rule with his might of non-violence, and he walked the length and breadth of the country. He was physically very fit, and he was very a fit person. And and also while relating it to the relationship with Israel, the letter which he has sent to A.E. Short of the Bombay Joint Association, which was written on the 1st September 1939, on the day Germany invaded Poland and triggered World War II. So there he has expressed his concern about the extent to which the Nazi persecution of Jews was a concern of the global citizenry. So, that was something, and it is now also even that letter is kept in National Library of Israel, NLI. So there onwards, India had always had very sound relationship with Israel, and even now, our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, visited Israel, was the first Prime Minister to visit Israel in 2017. And there too, and now secondly, the institution from which Dr. Yuri is from, that institute of Wingate Institute, is established in 1957, and I think it's almost as old as our LNCP Gwalior, and both almost established during the same period. And this was also established during Major General R.B. Charles Wingate, and had received many prestigious awards, including, I think, 1989, when the Israel's Premier Award for sports, it was given to this institution, and Dr. Yuri belongs to that institute. He is even now this institution is one of the best institutions in the world, where the training, various types of training, physical education, and also elite sports happens. Now we know that sports in Israel, football and basketball are the most popular one. The football has over superseded now, with 12 teams of the Premier League participating, attracting large crowd. And also we remember Gal Friedman, the gold medalist in 2009 Olympic medalist from Israel. So these are, I think, to be showcased, and I think we, in the relationship we have even now, India-Israel relationship are strong, and we have got bilateral ties in economic, military, and strategic. And Israel is the second largest defense supplier to India. And the challenges which we are faced in every field, sports is no exception, especially in this pandemic. And deliberations by Dr. Yuri gives insight, and he has always stressed that his concern on whether his students smile or they are unhappy with a bitter face. So this is where his yardstick of assessing whether his programs were successful from the time he was a physical education teacher and a coach. I think the perception stands, and I think that is the way he has at the last concluded that the technological advancements which are as into the sports, it should be something which should be so friendly and with the customer friendly, where every child, everyone should use it for the betterment in a positive way. That you could he quoted even about his own example, that the problem he confronted in using his computer, that it should be friendly so that the next generation will make best advantage of it. I think that was a wonderful session, and the discussions, the very constructive discussions which we had with the entire panelists, including Dr. Rosa, Dr. Kulka, and from we had our secretary of Physical Education Foundation of India. I should mention that PFI, Physical Education Foundation of India, is a very growing physical education forum in the country, with more than around 40,000 participants. This is coming up very well, and Dr. Piyush Jain and Dr. Uppal is taking a very good leadership. They are taking on the various issues confronting the physical education sector. And I think this relation between the International Forum of Physical Education Fraternity and our national forum should long stand, and I think it should continue for coming up in the field and having good relationship to see that our country, being, as rightly pointed out, the largest youth population of the world, means the largest youth population of the world means the world's youth is being bestowed on the country, and the Indian our tradition is that which focuses on globe as a village, that the entire globe should be a village. So I think that highlights that signifies our tradition and culture, and I think this relationship of the international relationship which we had started and we are having should long stand and should progress further for the betterment of the world sports, physical education, and the sporting arena. That was I would like to paraphrase. That is known as the Indian literature. It is said as Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam means the globe as a village. So I think we are all now the global citizens from a global village, and let us take on these challenges which are confronting the globe and the youth of the next generation, youth of the world, in a joint format, and so that we can ensure safe, healthy, peaceful life to the next generation, to the world. Thank you very much, and I once again thank profusely Dr. Yuri for his kind and gracious presence and his excellent presentation, and also to Dr. Darlene Luca and Dr. Rosa, and from India, Dr. Uppal, and for their gracious presence. And I am sure that this association will strengthen and go further. Thank you so much. Over to Dr. Usha.
Dr. Sanjay Prajapati, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Just I would like to put my view. Since in India nowadays, we are talking on the community coaching or community sports. So when we are talking about the community sports or community coaching for child, so first we have to provide the coaching for parents. Like when the child in womb, he used to kick, he used to move his hand, he used to move his leg. So he is doing the physical activity even in the womb. When he birth, then what the parents used to do when the child is crying, parents mostly mother, they are providing the mobiles, show them some videos, show them some cartoons, so they stop crying. So what they are developing these trains to use the social media in their daily life. So instead of providing them mobile, we can provide them balloons or soft balls, so that with that they can move their hands, leg, so that they can develop the basic things. So they will develop the mindset also with that. So in that way we can develop the better future in sports. So this is just my view, just I want to present before you people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay. It was indeed nice to hear from you. Dr. Yuri, the session was, I don't know what to speak to the session, because it was a vast, immense thing. And it's understood because it's the president of ICSSPE who was presenting it, where you have the country's partnership with the IOC, WHO, UNESCO. So we brought everything together. But I think it's a lesson for us. We learned, each of the participants learned the lessons. We surely would be seeing your video because we expect you to join us in the near future also. The session is going to continue. But I think you're a great teacher at the outside. Like, so you're a great teacher because as a student, we sat throughout listening like a movie is going on. We didn't want to stop because it's a time constraint. So it was wonderful having you in terms of coaching, teaching. I think even as a teacher, when I'm about to retire, but I think I'm learning a lot. So I don't this in terms of retirement age. So thank you so much, Dr. Yuri, for this wonderful session that you've given. This is a knowledge sharing platform, and we learned a lot, even though it's only the tip of the iceberg that we came to know. But definitely, as Dr. Piyush Jain rightly pointed out, we're going to start with projects, and please get us involved into some international projects. We are ready for it because we have hands of Dr. Piyush Jain. We are ready, and we should make the second batch as a starting platform. We have to take up, bring about a set pattern that we are going to start with it. And please do help us. So our hands are open. Pefi hand is open. We all are together, and we want to do something. We are eager to do something. So please do let us know what is expected of us. And definitely we are becoming a member of ICSSPE. And thank you so much with folded hands. Hats off to you because you're great, a legend. Hats off to you. Thank you so much,
Doctor. Many times, Dr. Usha. I'm really overwhelmed. We have our experts for India, Dr. Rosa and Dr. Kluka, with whom I will consult, and we will try to come up with an idea as to how we can use this platform to enhance our collaboration and really make sure that it's not just one shot, but we will have an ongoing collaboration. We will bring it to our executive members and to our executive board. And I'm sure everyone will be supporting, working with you. I see your passion, I see and hear your commitment, and I don't see any reason in the world but to collaborate and to enhance our desire and our will to make sure that something beneficial will come out of this training program. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure and my honor to be a guest lecturer today. So thank you so much.
And welcome to India once the pandemic is over.
And to Dr. Kishore, I just want to say, you know about Israel probably more than I do. So you have done a lot of research about it, and thank you so much. I appreciate a great deal what you have said, and I feel already that we are friends. Maybe I should not say it, but that's what I feel. What can I tell you?
Thank you. I'd like to thank Dr. Piyush Jain. Thank you so much for coming into us. And we'd like to, our hands open, same way to said, But I think Pefi and we together should make it happen. And the second batch is, so let us start with the collaboration. And as you said, for the PE teachers, let us come with something. We are ready for it. And we would make it. And I think in a month's time, we should set it in line. So on behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, first I'd like to thank Dr. Yuri. I'd like to thank Dr. Piyush, who's the live wire. I think wire means you get a shock. Live wire on the PEFI, which is spreading across the country like a fire. And we got about 40,000. I think in the near time, we may still increase further because there are a number of participants who are there with us. So we let everybody join this and let us make it a passion, as Dr. Yuri rightly pointed out. It is not a job. So I think we should be making it. So on behalf of the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, a big thank you to PEFI. Again, hats off to Dr. Piyush Jain, because you're doing a great job. I'd like to thank Dr. A.K. Uppal sir, my teacher, our teacher, because most of us here are there. In his absence, I'd like to thank him because it's because of him that I'm here. I would always say, not I, like me, there are many who are here. They have brought us up in the right directions, given us the right kind of skills by which we could do. I need to thank Dr. Uppal sir in his absence. I'd like to thank Rosa, because I always say, Rosa brought into a global platform. Rosa introduced you to us, including Darling. And you came in because of Rosa. So Rosa, a big thank you to you. And Rosa would not sit every now and then. Let's go ahead. Let's do this. So I think that she's got so much of spirit in her. And that's actually the driving force. Thank you so much, Rosa, to have known you and you being a part of this, making it a global event. I'd like to thank Darling, because every word that you happen to say, it's so unique. I never knew you do a cycling every day. I never knew that. That's keeping you fit, being an international volleyballer. But I know that's a role model for women, because our girls should be listening to you, finding out what are the secrets of you being so young. That's another question which is going to come up. So thank you so much, Darling. And hope to see you throughout for the session. And thank you. I'd like to thank Mr. Sujit Panigre, who's been working day and night to get in maximum attendance, doing a lot of technology for us. I'd like to thank Dr. Sanjay Prajapati, who's been the co-host and always helping in linking, as well as the technical Dr. Buri, Dr. Sanjeev Patil. I wanted him to come onto this. Please to come in, Sanjeev Patil there. I want you to see, the entire audience to see, because he's been working a lot, struggling. Please meet Dr. Sanjeev Patil, who's been working behind the screen, sending letters to everybody, working day and night. Thank you so much, Dr. Sanjeev Patil, for the support that you're rendering for this mission. I'd like to thank Kishore sir, because it's, as you all know, sir says, okay, when you put an idea, sir, go ahead. So that freedom which you happen to give, I think we can do anything. So I think every institute should have a leader like Dr. Kishore. I'm sure our profession would get great heights. Thank you so much, Kishore sir. I'd like to thank Dr. Sanjay Prajapati. I'd like to thank all the members who have helped us with technical, and I'd like to thank our dear participants. I still find about 1,000. My PE teachers, you are the energy and source for us. It's you who are the ambassadors, and we together will prove things right. So once again, for each and everybody, thank you. Namaste. Namaste.
Now let us start the feedback form through poll option. Hariharan, can you open it?
We have a feedback form.
Others can leave, is it?
Yeah, participant will get 5 minutes to fill it.
Participants have to be there.
Only 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes. So we have a feedback form since morning we have put in.
Participants, you have 5 minutes. You can fill it within 5 minutes.
Participants, please to fill in the feedback form.
I'm very impressed with this notion of feedback. Wow, you guys are really good. Really good.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
It was Dr. Gurul and Sanjay Prajapati who introduced this concept. Anyway, thank you.
Excellent. As the days goes by, we get more impressed.
So, Dr. Uri, I would like to invite you also in our PEFI live sessions. We have started this session during this lockdown period from 14th April till date, continuously daily. We are organizing this physical education and sports science lectures for all the PE teachers. And even Dr. Kishore also presented one of his paper in our PEFI live session. and our honorable minister, sir, our honorable health minister, lots of people, lots of chancellors come up in our live session. PAFI is one of the biggest platform in India of e-teachers.
I'll put that across.
And
I'll put that across to them, sir.
Across India, definitely once this pandemic over, we will invite you for some specific program we can done with the LNCP, Trivandrum, PAFI, and CCPSC.
We'll be happy to discuss how we can move it forward.
Yeah.
We also would like to invite the Sport Authority of India to become member of ICSPE. I will communicate with Dr. Kishore and maybe together I will consult with Rosa and Darlene as to what should be the best way to approach the ministry and the Sport Authority, and we will see to it that we are maintaining and developing our collaboration, as I said before, and I'm very happy to your proposal. I think it's in place.
We have received
We are very
the
much
application. Darlene and Rosa sent us. Kishore sir has already processed it. We are in the process of being a member.
Wonderful. So they
Darlene has already sent us.
faster than what I thought, and I welcome it very much.
Thank you.
And it will open a new door for the collaboration. So we are very privileged.
You know,
That's
there
your
are
decision, and I thank you for that decision.
And regarding the PAFI, I'll put it across, sir. Sir, I'll share yours.
Also share
the excitement here is
a member of. You can also share the form of.
No, sir, I'll share yours, sir. Your PAFI also I'll share with them, sir, with these experts.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you.
I think it will help if the ministry and the university can become members of ICSPE, mostly because then you've got a true connection with the global piece or the international piece between your university that's doing outstanding work with the ministry, so that when those two come together on projects that are more global in their outlook, that would be fantastic. And Uri, I think that may be the first time ever that a ministry along with a designated university would then become members of ICSPE. I'm not sure, but I think that that's a possibility.
You are more experienced than I am, so you know better, but I think it's a great idea. I also would support it from the point of view that normally ministries are not running research. What they do, they apply and they reach out to university to help with some data and run research and so on, and projects and so on and so forth. And I think that the possibility to have the university with the ministry as ICSPE members will actually lead us to more availabilities to run projects together.
Dr. I would like to mention that PAFI is also a national sports promotion organization recognized by our Ministry of Sports, Youth Affairs and Sports.
Sir, what the papers I can share with them. Once you share with me, I will share with the experts.
And as far as the research part is concerned, even we have almost 500 university members with PAFI. Lots of physical education professionals, those who are working with the ministry, different universities in
universities.
India. So they are the member of the PAFI as a active member. So any project which we would like to be conducted in the university sector, even in school sector, both university and school sector, we have a very good network in university as well as school sector. So we can collect the data and all other things for the research purpose.
I agree. I agree. I think. Yeah. Sure.
So, Sanjay. So now we wind up the session. Once again, I'd like to thank each one for your valuable presence, Dr. Yuri, Dr. Piyush Jain, Darling Kluka, Rosa, each one. Once again, thank you so much. Namaste. And Dr. Piyush, sir, I definitely share. You can give me the information which I can share to them, and we'll see that we can come on a common platform for the course of physical education. So once again, thank you and namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Usha ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.